Hi kids, we're going to be making our die again. It's been a couple weeks, so I just want you to, and in fact, when we did it the first time, it was hard to do good habits. So let's start with this. Let's start with putting good habits here. First, this is a spreadsheet. The columns are labeled by letters. The rows are labeled by numbers. I'm going to put here in A1, cell A1. I can tell the location because the first column and the first row is, the first column's A and the first row is 1. I'm going to put in there roll number. It's just a header telling me what I'm going to put down here. I'm going to hit enter. Now notice that this roll number is not in the right, it's not like it pooches out over the cell. I can make that cell a little bit bigger by putting my mouse over to the right corner, and you see how it becomes a thin cross with an arrow right at the A. If I stretch it, I can make it fit. So another thing, I'm going to bold it. So if I click that cell and I go up here to B, I can bold it. And I can change the font too. So I'd like you to change your font. Up here I have Aptos Narrow. I'm going to change it to, let's see, you can change it to anything you want, but let me change it to Baskerville Old Face. So it changes the font, and it's like make it a little bit bigger. So you change it to the font you want to. Over here, I'm going to make that bigger. So I'm going to put the random number. And change that to Baskerville, whatever I had before. And bold it. And over here, I'm going to put number change. Let's say number stretch. I'll call that number stretch. So just follow along with me and do exactly what I'm doing. And over here, I'm going to put die. That's our actual die. Good. Now everything's set. All right, and roll number, I'm going to have you put equals 1 first here. And we're just going to do 1,000 rolls. So equals, whenever I put equals, what that means is I'm about to have a formula in there. In the next cell, I'm just going to hit return, enter. In the next cell, in A3, I'm going to put equals, I'm going to put A2, and you see how it highlights that row or that cell because I just typed A2 in here. I'm going to put +1, and I get 2 there. Now I'm going to go click into cell A3. My mouse does different things. When I'm in the cell, it's like a thick cross. If I go down to this right corner down here, it becomes a thin cross. I'm going to hold my mouse, my left mouse down, and I'm going to pull it, drag it, just that cell, and I'm going to drag it down till I get to cell A1000. So you did this with me. It was a little tricky. Come down here and just go up to 1,000. Well, let's 990. Let's pull it down one more. 1,000 rolls. Okay. Now I'm going to go into cell B2. And what I did there is I just went to this scroll bar on the side and I pulled up. I'm going to go to the random number cell B2. And here I'm going to put equals, because I'm going to type a formula, rand, that's a random number, and parentheses. That's the function, Excel's function for making a random number. I'm going to hit enter. The first thing I notice is, first of all, this is not just any old random number. It's a number between 0 to 1. That's our favorite interval. That's all we've been working on in the summer is the interval 0 to 1. If I do this thick cross and I make it a thin cross to the side and I double click on the left mouse shift button, you'll see that I get a whole bunch of random numbers. Over here, if I go, it's another random number. So over here. Let's also look back in A4. What I have there is A3 plus 1. A4, so dragging it down 1 made that cell number go up by 1. So what it's doing in cell 8, A8, for example, it is taking A7 and adding 1. So that gave me that roll number increasing by 1. All right, now this number in this cell is between 0 to 1. A die is between 1 to 6. So I'm going to stretch this number. I'm going to stretch the number. If I multiply any number between 0 to 1 by 6, it's going to stretch it so that the numbers are not just going to be from 0 to 1 anymore. It's going to be from 0 to 5. Not quite going to be 0 to 6. So I'm going to put here in this cell C2 equals, I'm going to take the number in B2 and multiply it by 6. That's an asterisk for multiplication by 6. But I'm going to add 1 so that the numbers are all numbers between 0 to 1. They have still a decimal after them. And if you remember, when we have a decimal, it's actually taking somewhere between 0 to 1, and it tells you where. So this one here is a smidgen above 0.5. Here we have now a smidgen above 4.5, so halfway between 4 and 5. So I know where that number lies. If I do the same thing I did before and double click, these are all now numbers between 0 to 6, sometimes a little bit above 6. I don't want the decimal part. A die has numbers that are between I just want the number that's without the decimal. That's called the integer function. If I just want to drop off everything else, but only keep the number that's without the decimal, I'll go to this die part and put equals integer, int stands for integer, and I'm going to put parenthesis, and I'm going to put C2. And you see the highlighted C2? I should get 5 when I close the parenthesis. So when I close the parenthesis and hit enter, the numbers all change because it's not random. It's a random number generator. So I get 3. That is now a die roll. If I go over here and make a thin cross, I now get numbers that are between 1 and 6. So I've made a die roll in Excel. Pretty cool. All right, and just to check, if I go down here, go to my scroll bar, I can see that these numbers are all the way to 1,000 rolls. So what I want you to do is I want you to recreate what I just did. Follow along with me, pause the YouTube video if you need to, slowly go through, and you can message me and ask me questions if you want. So you don't have to get any help from your parents. The last thing I need you to do after you're done is I want you to go to Save As and call it something. I have a folder. You might need your parents' help for this because they probably don't want you to save things in different places. But if I go to Browse, I have a folder with your guys' name on it. So let's go down. There you are, Alana, Ari, and Lucas. So I'm going to save my die roll here. And that saves it there in a folder. You can think of these folders as being drawers, and you save it so that you can go find the drawer again and pull this up. So I can pull this up when I need to for you. All right, so save your thing and then email me your file. And that you'll need help with your parents. So go to your parents and say, I have a file, it's saved. Maybe you didn't save it. Maybe you should talk to them before saving it, but say I need to save a file and send it to Diana. All right, see you in class Sunday.